My name is Kevin Finklea. This is Fever Dreams, which is currently at THATCHER Projects in New York. The Fever Dreams title actually came about certainly as a response to the pandemic, but also kind of riffing on the idea of what do we think about, what do we fill our time with when there's not much else happening, I suppose. Sort of dreamlike, if you will. I would hope that the work invites you to certainly look at surface, the way the surface changes particularly. For instance, in this gallery we have very bright light currently that's reflected, and as that light changes, the piece itself will change, the perception of the piece. I've used iridescent paints in all of the work, and the iridescent paint offers a surface that will present itself in one manner, but then as the light changes, can even disappear, can pull back, so that the object itself then changes relative to the light, has almost kind of a breath to it, a mutability, if you will. And that fascinates me endlessly. I think that is really key to the work, is that it's changeable, it's not immediately knowable, and that one has to spend time with it. In that sense, it becomes a very good example of what I would call contemplative abstraction, the kind of thing that you really need to live with, to have in your space and experience over time as the light changes, as your mood changes, even as your perception changes. Certainly, the color is key here for me, and I spend a great deal of time with the color, layering it, etc. For instance, in this pink piece here, there are 6 different reds that are under that pink to affect it. And that only becomes available to you as color information over time, again, as you can see it relative to the light. The hook thing came about. I was working on a series that actually came out of the work of a Belgian artist, Raoul de Keyser, who had hung things on hooks. And when I saw that, I thought, I need to do that. I need to own that. And so in doing that, I came around to this way of having the forms as almost weights and hanging almost precariously from that hook, so that even if the breeze came along, the piece would move a bit. And that became even more interesting to me, that this piece wasn't, again, offering you this absolutely knowable surface, this absolutely knowable object. The object could move just like the color moves, if you will. That you would have something that is changeable. So that was my concern with the hooks, and I've stayed with it, actually. Truth be known, I am not a big fan of minimalism. I actually prefer what comes after it, which is post-minimalism. I'm a much bigger fan of someone like Richard Tuttle, for instance, who I think sort of muddies the waters. Things aren't as clear, if you will. And that to me is always what I'm interested in, is this mutable, changeable thing. And so minimalism for me in some ways is almost too definite, curiously. So it's too absolute, and I'm really not interested in that, because I don't think life's that way. I just don't think we live that way. We don't think that way. Interesting thing is my vision is actually quite bad, and I don't see any straight lines. I've never seen a straight line in my entire life, so this is really a challenge for me. I also don't see in stereo. I had eye cancer and completely lost my stereo vision with that. I was bad to begin with, but now I see things very flat. So it's almost as if my vision is tied into, I'm constantly having to think about what I have to see or what I'm looking at to figure out what it is. And I believe that's probably what informed my sense of sculpture the most, was this need to constantly assess and mentally calculate the thing I was looking at. So then the objects become kind of a function of that, if you will. And as I make them, they they become clear to me what they're going to be. I let them happen very organically, for instance. Like most of these things in this room are either from scraps from conservation furniture makers and schools and things like that. And so a scrap will then suggest to me what the piece is going to be. I let that happen. And perhaps that would be the influence of artists like Rauschenberg, who, when I was early on, was very, very influential to me as a kid. That kind of just letting things happen and sort of throwing things together. And so I still do that in the work in a very, very restricted, conservative way, but it's still there. So this show, Fever Dreams, will be up until the 19th of June. Certainly the work will be posted online at the Margaret Thatcher site. And if you go onto YouTube, you'll see this video, certainly, which will be posted as well.